Hi everybody. Today I'm taking a look at a classic board game called Easy Money, first published by Milton Bradley in 1935. Over the years it's been reissued at least a couple of times by different companies. The copy I have here is an example of a Canadian edition from the early 1960s, but the game hasn't changed much over time. The original presentation was colorful, it became more muted, and then a very garish facelift graphic redesign happened in the 1970s and it became just a bunch of loud colors. Anyway, with this video, I will argue that no matter the edition, Easy Money remains an underrated, underappreciated alternative to Monopoly. Why look at this game? Well, I got it cheap from a local auction a while back, and I found that I liked it. I was pleasantly surprised for the most part, and I'm a fan of old school economic roll and move games anyway. Besides, it's called Easy Money, so who isn't up for some easy money? If there is such a thing. I'll take a minute to explain how it works. It feels like Monopoly with a few significant differences. It's a 2 to 6 player affair. The object is to have the most money and property at the exact moment in the game when the first player goes broke. At that point, everything stops and you count up individual net worths. Thus, the end tends to be rather sudden and unexpected results are possible, particularly with larger player counts, so that's different. Players start with a pile of paper money. It seems like a lot, almost an excessive amount, even in game scale. Anyway, you roll 2d6 to move around the board. On doubles, players must draw a give or take card before a movement. These cards are random events that can plus or minus a player's bankroll. So you have an equivalent to chance or community chest plays without the dedicated board spaces. More on the cards later. Like Monopoly, when you land on a property space, you can buy it. However, there are 3 different types of properties. There are subdivisions, public buildings, and utility spaces. The most important properties by far are the subdivisions. There are 22 of them in total. They are represented by yellow spaces on the board. If you're able to land on and purchase at least one subdivision on each side of the board, only then can you begin to develop and improve them with houses. Up to 5 homes can be built in each subdivision. Every step in development increases the rent penalty for other players who land on them. No hotels in this game, so you can't do the dirty house hog trick like in Monopoly. Unfortunately, though, it's entirely possible that you get unlucky enough with die rolls that you can't ever land on the right 4 spaces to start subdivision development. It's bound to happen to someone in a 6-player game. This is why it's important that players also compete for ownership of the public buildings and utilities. These are the red spaces. The first time a player lands on one, a bank auction happens, so players can't just buy them. You have to outbid other players if you want to own one. So there's a lot more auctioning in Easy Money, especially at the start of the game. A lot of people overlook this distinguishing feature. The red spaces are a challenge for players to figure out and value. Public buildings like the nightclub or the Waldorf Hotel have mortgage values, while the utility such as the phone company does not. On the one hand, they don't have great potential to generate game-winning revenue. On the other hand, they have significant value as leverage for future deal making. For example, a player might package up 3 red spaces to trade for 1 yellow subdivision from a player who has extra property. And so players have to ask themselves, how much do I want to pay for an asset that I can't develop? And then they often discover it's really easy to overbid for what is essentially going to be a bargaining chip. So that part of the game is interesting also. The board also has a number of green spaces known as legacy squares. They represent fixed events like taxes and hospital fees. There's even a traffic light double space before go that if you blow past it without landing on it, you must pay a minor fine. So that's a nice touch. It's the little details that distinguish Easy Money from Monopoly. So now I'll talk a little bit about out-of-the-box components and overall play value. Firstly, the instructions are clear and concise. However, they're not as well organized as I would have liked. And in early editions, they're printed on the inside of the box cover, which is inconvenient. I therefore easily one-page the entire rules. Players in my group don't have to pass around the box lid. I just give them a sheet of paper instead. Pawns and houses are typical of the era, so functional, but that's all. It comes with tons of paper money, a lot of cute little wooden or later plastic houses to run the game. But I actually have a significant issue with the number of bits and pieces that come with the game. And I almost never complain about the amount of stuff that you get in board games. But here, it's not enough. You think it's enough, it looks like enough, but it isn't. Any one player has the amount of houses needed to claim any realistic number of subdivisions they might own in a game, but not enough to populate each subdivision with multiple numbers of houses. So what you have to do is slide a single house up a subdivision space incrementally to show step-by-step development. And why is this an issue? Well, other people who have reviewed this game have also mentioned this. It makes the game too fiddly. unnecessarily so. It means you can't really roll dice on the board. You can't accidentally knock the board at all for fear of losing track of everyone's progress. So for an otherwise lively gaming experience where money is changing hands constantly and deal making is happening, you have a delicate setup you have to maintain and fuss over. So I say if you like easy money like me, consider buying a junk copy for extra pieces or maybe a bunch of spare parts. It'd be so worth it. You won't have to worry about precise unit placements. Instead, you just fill those subdivisions with houses and get a much better visual representation of property development. Another aspect of easy money I feel can be improved is the give and take cards. My copy came with the dark red perforated cardboard ones, black ink on dark red cards. They are hard on the eyes, and I think they were going for the old carnival ticket look, but I got tired of using mine after the first game. Besides, there's only like 24 of them, and not enough for larger player counts in my opinion, and they have uninspired artwork to boot. I redid the cards. I came up with my own 60 or so different thematic easy money give or takes. I uploaded these expansion card templates to BGG, so feel free to download, adjust, and incorporate them as you see fit. Some of the highlights include a burglar card, a mugger, debt collectors you can send after other players, a telephone scammer, as well as some new takes such as overtime work, Christmas bonus, and a yard sale. I actually had a lot of fun making expansion cards. I found it was a lot more difficult to think up life events that result in random windfalls, obviously. The whole point here is that it doesn't take too much thought or a lot of effort to augment and modify the overall gaming experience in this case. But now it's time for the big question everyone wants to know. Is it better than Monopoly? And it's a hard question to answer. Easy money is a luck fest, so is Monopoly. Both allow for deal making. In easy money, you're meant to buy or sell to other players rather than swap. But whatever. Monopoly looks better with its iconic player tokens, race car, battleship, etc. Mr. Monopoly character, hotels, and houses. It's had greater development over the years, that's for sure. Monopoly is also less fiddly to play out of the box. Easy money has a better end game. It doesn't drag on, and you can have unexpected final outcomes. For example, you can have a middle strength player bust a have-not, and in the process hand the victory to an even bigger fish. That can't happen in Monopoly, not instantly at least. Easy money has more auctions, and there's an intensified, constant money changing aspect to it that feels different. So overall, I think easy money is worth a try, especially for anybody who likes Monopoly. They are similar, yet still different. It's really not bad at all. It's not expensive either on the secondary market. You can see them for sale all the time, which suggests to me it's a title that is somewhat underappreciated. After all, it can be upgraded and it accomplishes what it sets out to do. Somebody winds up being the whale and someone else gets swallowed up. I think I will get a set of extra pieces and maybe do a brief turn summary 6-player simulated game video. I know I'd have fun doing that for sure. Anyway, that's easy money. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more content coming soon.